need is we're going to start with the 2018 renewal year. So the way the law is written, the way I see it, just real quick, is for 2018's numbers, we report them in 2019 in April and May. Similar to the way you would do your taxes. So your 2018 taxes got filed in 2019. Your 2018 renewal got filed in 2019. This law takes effect Jan 1, 2019. So, in the 2018 year, we were not required to be under this law.
Well,
The point system and everything took place Jan 1, 2019. The whole law took effect.
no, just.
Or actually, the points
No,
had their
actually,
own
the
date.
points,
I'm sorry.
took
The 50% rule
Right.
took place Jan 1.
right.
Yes.
But
So
if-
that's when the rules for it went into effect.
But if you read this part of the ordinance, it says, the 50% or 200,000, except that effective January 1st.
2019.
Or 2019, the other one takes effect. So you are
Okay.
being looked at for compliance to that previous portion.
Say it and go ahead and say it.
Well, go ahead and say what?
We're
You're
in
being-
compliance with what? What rule?
To demonstrate that that it is more likely than not that it shall have from the blah, 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 or issued, that it shall have been, from the date above licenses are issued, receipts from prepared meals or food consumed on the premises of greater than 50% of gross receipts or not less than $200,000.
Okay.
That was the standard that was prior to January 1st, 2019.
Perfect.
Right.
And
And
what
that's
we
the
gave
standard
you,
you're being-
and what we gave you was a piece of paper that said we sell $2 million a year worth of food.
Okay.
So just close to 200,000 a month. Many months it was over 200,000. So when we filled out this line right here, we put $2 million.
Okay.
Okay? And we've done that for many years.
Okay.
And the language is can demonstrate that is more likely than not. Now, you're saying by selling $200,000 a month's worth of food, 10 times the low water mark.
Right.
We made the low water mark by a preponderance of 10, exponentially.
Okay.
And that's not more likely than not? What would more likely than
And-
not be?
And it needs to be certified by a licensed certified public accountant.
And where does it say that? Keep reading. It does not say the food versus liquor sales has to be certified. It says if there's an audit, I must hire a CPA. Let's read that. Go ahead. You've got this. You want to read it? No, you want to read
right
it?
there.
Can I jump in here? Because I think.
Can I just finish this one part real quick, and then I'll be done on this issue.
Okay.
Subject to all those other things. You can't prove that you're going to sell 50%, which we've done every year for 21 years. 21 years in a row. Even when we didn't have to sell 51%, we still sold 70. We've never sold less than 65. But that's not good enough for the city because this is what it goes on to say, blah, blah, blah. If you can get another 90 days if you're close, and then another 90 days if you're close, and then another 90 days. And then it says, or its designee may audit any licensee or licensed premise to verify compliance. Perfect. I'm glad you can. I'm glad you can audit people. That's a great thing. As an alternative, the director of finance may require a licensee to have an audit. Okay, you can have an audit. Great. Performed at the licensee's sole cost and expense by a licensed CPA. Where does that say that you have to have a CPA fill out this? Why are we being audited? Don't you have to have a reason to audit someone? What's this audit all about? We just did an audit 6 months ago. Why are we being re-audited? That's my number one seminal question. Because it doesn't say I have to have a CPA to sign off on food versus liquor. It says that if you want to do an audit, you go ahead. And then at that point, I have to hire a CPA. Not until that point is the way I read it. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am, I apologize.
No, that's okay. I'm happy to listen. So my interpretation of this first section here is this is for new businesses that come into the city. The 90-day requirement is for,
That's what I thought it was for as well.
so when new
I concur.
businesses come in, we look at their first 90 days and then we give them another 90 days to get into compliance.
Because who knows what's going to happen.
Right. It just so happens that this paragraph goes
mirrors.
on and talks about
Sure.
the compliance
Sure.
review.
Yep.
It's kind of meshed together.
I concur. I would say it was poorly written.
There's, it's
It
probably
was
not
quickly
perfect,
written.
for
No, it's
sure.
not.
But the intent of this section when we had it added was, like I said in my email, so that when you guys fill out your forms, I don't have to go out and make sure those numbers are right. You already have somebody that's made sure they're right.
And an account.
That's
Here's
all.
the problem. I know, but here's the problem we have down there. Not everybody. Only half of all accountants are CPAs.
Right.
There's 1.3 million accountants in the United States. There's only 650 on the CPA side. So there's people down there that are not. In fact, there's people that we know of, food and beverage business. They do their own. The one woman was a bookkeeper by trade, and that's what she brought to the table as part of the agreement for working there. And now, oh, fuck, we don't have to pay anybody to do our books? Awesome. And now she can manage on Mondays and wait tables a couple nights a week, and boom. This lady's making them $1,000 a week because she can do all this stuff for them. I don't understand. So now these people are going to have to fire their accountant. Because why would you have two people cut your grass? There's going to be people down there that have to fire people that they've been doing business with for 10 years. That there's no reason for an audit if your numbers say I did $300,000 in food for a 6-month period, and I did another $400,000 in food, and I only did $250 in alcohol. Why would we audit someone? Why would we even care who signed off on it? There's no red flags. There's no inconsistencies. There's no nothing. There's no reason for an audit. There's nobody needs a CPA. This is just total red tape nonsense. You're going to piss a lot of people off down there with this interpretation.
So,
Two people have to cut your grass?
so when we went to the city council, we asked for it to be a CPA so that we could have assurance that the numbers are correct. If we don't know who's signing the form,
Thank you.
Then we
I
can't-
appreciate that. I would appreciate that. And that's the same thing you said in the email. So these are the numbers that were turned in and were signed off on.
Okay.
is that the same form? Is that last year's form? Oh, it's Funky's, yeah.
16.
Okay, right, yes.
If you notice, they divided by 2.
And that's why we asked the council to make the form. So
And then if
we
you look
can-
at the following year, so food, $1.37. Really simple. Food, $1.37. Alcohol, $1.58. Total, $3.16. When you add $1.37 and $1.58, you get $2.95. They sold more alcohol than food and admitted to it, and they're still open 9 months later. And me and Tia are fooling with this nonsense. Right on management, Bobby's place. Right on management. Bobby's people are right on. 700 in food, 670 in liquor. Right on management, you know it's right, because it's right on. The next year they only had 380 in food and 870 in liquor. Boy, their business model changed, didn't it? And me and T are futzing with this nonsense, as my mom would say. Mr. Thirsty's is a joke. Uncle Joe's, $3.15 in food, $3.02 in liquor. The next year, magically, with all the whiteout, they did just $2.04 and $5.52. It went down to 26%. They went from 51% food to 26% food. And me and Tia are futzing with this nonsense. Tia's had the same account for 10 years. She doesn't want to hire 2 people to cut her grass. She doesn't need 2 people to cut her grass. If you want to audit somebody, go for it. We've been audited. We don't need to futz with this nonsense. This is just over the top. Thank you for your time. I was short and sweet. Thank you, guys. We're done. We're done futzing with this. I'm not going to turn into that one in. I already have a CPA. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just committed to it. Gina, I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Enjoy the day. If you get a chance, like, get out early. Give Mom a late Mother's Day present.
John